Hoy conversé con dos personalidades importantes en Milwaukee. Son personalidades con una influencia importante para la clase trabajadora de esta zona de Estados Unidos. Earl Ingram es locutor de radio. Tiene una audiencia muy amplia. Él es progresista. Mientras que Orlando Owens es político del Partido Republicano y está buscando el voto por Donald Trump. Aquí los detalles.
District Judge
Earl Ingram, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm honored.
But what are the risks if Donald Trump and his vice president nominee, J.D. Vance, take the presidency of the United States? What are the risks?
Well, many. Number one, Project 2025, four of the top orchestrators of that used to be in the Trump campaign, used to be in his staff, part of his staff, and so he's running away from it now, saying he has nothing to do with it. But clearly, if he gets reelected, he's going to follow that path. There's nothing to stop him. He's got 4 years, and he doesn't have to run for reelection ever again. So he'll be able to do whatever it is he wants to do if by chance the Republicans can win the Congress and the Senate, and it is razor tight right now. And if those three things happen, the government of this nation as we have known it is going to disappear and move into chaos, and which means that the world itself, because America being the nation that it is, will move into chaos.
What do you have in the other hand? The Democratic Party, President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris. You just spoke with Biden a few days ago. What do you think about that campaign and that project?
I think that President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have been addressing something that has been dogging and hurting this nation for a long time, and that's the middle class of this nation has been hollowed out, and the poor inside of the wealthiest nation on earth are suffering silently. The world is not aware of the suffering that goes on inside of this country. Again, the wealthiest on earth. The financial resources of the country have now gone into the hands of a select few, and the American citizens are really pawns who no longer have control over their own futures. It's heartbreaking when you see that we have a nation that constantly looks at the other nations and can point out the shortcomings of those nations, but inside of our own borders, we can't look at and understand the suffering that goes on with the American people.
Yes. Do you think Biden is capable for 4 more years?
I think Joe Biden is possibly able to do this with the support and help of all of those around him. The one thing that I will say about President Biden are his policies. His policies have addressed many of the things that have impacted the middle class and the poor of this nation over the last 3 decades. He's been more effective than any of the other presidents in addressing the suffering and struggle of the American people.
Earl, thank you very much for receiving us. Thank you very much for having us here in your studio. And thank you for your voice, for this progressist voice here in America.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Me encuentro en el centro comunitario del Partido Republicano aquí en Milwaukee, en Wisconsin, con Orlando Owen. Orlando, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
How are you convincing the community, black voters, to support this project, the project of Donald Trump, and since yesterday, the project of Trump and Vance?
Well, we look at policy. Again, we can look at when Biden was in office and when Trump was in office. And people can make their own decision. I think the big thing for us, as far as you look at the economics, you're sitting right now in one of the most impoverished parts of the city. We need jobs, and we just had a Tim Scott roundtable about opportunity zones here. And so it's important that we find solutions to the high levels of unemployment, the high levels of crime, and failing schools. And I think the GOP has a much more positive pathway forward. And now for us is really to go out and let the public know what we're doing.
People, families here in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, are struggling more with Biden than with Trump?
Yes, the cost of food, cost of living has skyrocketed through the roof. Just the lack of more resources have really hurt us as well too. You have a migrant population here in our city, but not a lot extra help for African Americans. So you go to cost of living, sales taxes, referendum, no jobs, poor schools, and these are all the markings of a failing economy. Here in the city of Milwaukee, we have a black Democratic mayor, a black Democratic county executive, a black police chief, and a black sheriff. Black, and we're still in the same predicament.
And does the Republican agenda will solve those necessities?
I think we have a better chance of speaking to them.
Okay.
Will we solve them completely? I don't think that's the case. But can we move in a way to get more people to say, let's take another path? The same way with my project, Move the Needle. We're just trying to get more people to look at the Republican Party and say, you know what, I know what I haven't been getting with the Democratic Party, but let me try the Republican Party.
I was talking this morning with another people, some people, and told me and they think Republican agenda is the same as isolation, isolate the United States, close borders, walls. Do you agree with this idea?
I think you must have a nation first. I think every nation has the ability to protect itself and its citizens. Without having borders, you don't have a country, you don't have a nation. So I think that's probably where every nation should be, having a good understanding of who's coming in and out of your country. America first.
First, but not alone?
Not alone.
Okay.
First, but not alone. But home base must be first where you start. You can't, help others if you don't first take care of what's in front of your house. They had an old saying, sweep around your own front door first before you go talk about somebody else's front door.
Yeah, about the pickup of Trump, J.D. Vance, you worked with Tim Scott. Do you think J.D. Vance will make a good job in this teammate with Trump, or Tim Scott?
I was partial, and I think all the candidates were great.
Okay.
I don't know much about J.D. Vance, but what I've seen initially, I'm like, okay, he grew up poor and had a struggling existence in the beginning. I think it would resonate with a lot of people. I just happen to know Senator Scott a little bit better, but I'm happy with the pick. I thought all of our candidates would have been great.
Okay. Orlando Owen here in Wisconsin.